our right to live.
If we can't be safe at school, where can we be?
It's terrible and it's terrifying for us as students.
The next generation of voters, and these are the ideals that we stand for. We stand for safe schools, and we're tired of the inaction in Congress.
Never again.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jane McCarthy.
And I'm Mark Hanrahan. Those are the voices of children across the Inland Northwest speaking out against gun violence. They're taking a stand with thousands of students all across the nation.
It was 1 month ago today that 17 people were killed at a school in Parkland, Florida. These are a few of those victims. To honor them, students walked out of class for 17 minutes today, 1 minute for each person killed.
Students at the school where that shooting happened poured out of the school calling for stronger gun laws. They chanted, marched, and held up signs, and thousands of students went to the U.S. Capitol building urging politicians to make a change.
And this is what students at Columbine High School in Colorado did today. Nearly 20 years ago, you might remember, the school was the scene of another deadly shooting.
Well, that's when 2 students walked into the school and killed 13 people. That shooting happened on April 20th. More school walkouts are planned next month to mark that anniversary. Here locally, it was a somber day for students at Freeman High School, where student Sam Strahan was shot and killed just a few months ago.
Today, a few dozen students gathered to observe 18 minutes of silence, 1 minute for each victim in Parkland and 1 minute for Sam Strahan. Sam was killed September 13th trying to stop a gunman at Freeman High. School administrators say students also plan to participate in the walkout on April 20th. And students at other schools around the Inland Northwest also walked out of class in support of victims of school gun violence.
That includes schools in Coeur d'Alene. The school district had several meetings leading up to today supporting students who wanted to demonstrate.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley was there this morning, and she joins us live now with more. Amanda.
Good evening. Well, the student walkouts this morning at Coeur d'Alene High School went pretty smoothly, according to student organizers and school officials. Now, this morning, the principal announced to the school right before that 10 a.m. bell where the location is that students would gather. That location was unknown right before the bell as a safety precaution.
The 10 a.m. bell rang and students flooded into the school gym, greeted by the additional Coeur d'Alene police officers on hand to ensure the protest didn't get out of hand and students were safe. Student organizers Annika Silk and Ashley Romanowski kicked off the student-led assembly by reading a letter they wrote to Idaho members of Congress, saying they're walking out of school today because it's supposed to be a safe place to learn and grow.
Dear members of Congress, it is time for change.
Annika and Ashley invited their fellow students to come down and register to vote, sign a petition going to Idaho members of Congress, and write their own letters to representatives. Annika says she was pleased by the turnout this morning, but also grateful she had the chance to talk with students who disagreed with walkout day.
It's been able to be cool to see both sides of it and have those constructive conversations, not arguments. They've been conversations, which I've been so extremely appreciative of.
Many of you tuned in to the walkout at Coeur d'Alene High School on our Facebook Live, weighing in with supportive comments, cheering on the students. Some even said they were proud of both students who walked out and those who didn't. 25 minutes later, they paused for a moment of silence, and students headed back to class. Outside the school, parents and grandparents gathered to show their support for students who walked out today.
It needed to be done a long time ago, and we are really in support of them and praying that their movement will continue on and make a change with our politicians.
Away from Coeur d'Alene High School was a counter-protest at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. It was a Second Amendment support rally. We were there this morning, and join us tonight at 6 and we'll share what those protesters had to say. Reporting from Coeur d'Alene, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. So we've shown you quite a few demonstrations already, but locally, the largest demonstration we saw was at Lewis and Clark High School.
Hundreds of people gathered outside the school this morning. Some parents even stood alongside their kids. KREM 2's Rob Harris was there.
The crowd outside of LC today was huge.
So big, in fact, that it was actually hard to navigate my way through at times to talk to all of the different people who were participating. It started forming before the actual walkout began, actually. Some parents and members of the community showed up with signs and actually declined interviews because they said they wanted the students to be the focus today. At 10 a.m., just as planned, the students started filing out of the doors of LC, and it took several minutes for all of the participating students to make their way out onto the sidewalk and steps because there were so many of them that had lined up in the hallways. Many of them had brought signs from home with different messages, most of them relating to gun reform.
Last time I checked, I have the right to live.
It says enough is enough, and it has a list of many school shootings and mass shootings and the number of deaths.
Never again.
To be sure, though, not all students participated, and when you look through the windows of LC, you could see some students who apparently had decided to not demonstrate along with their classmates. But the students who were out here demonstrating say they were really ecstatic to see so many participating.
I'm so overjoyed right now. I thought there was going to be 50 people max, and we have so many people here, at least a couple hundred, and this is far beyond anything I ever expected.
It is so moving. It is so amazing to see everyone come together through our differences for this one cause, for this one change.
I'm honestly really excited because I wasn't expecting this many, especially since we got a sudden burst of rain. This is honestly, it's greater than I could have imagined.
For many of the students that I spoke to today, these demonstrations aren't over. They're planning one in downtown Spokane next Saturday. They're calling it the March for Our Lives and inviting the whole community to come out. And then they're planning another school walkout for April 20th, which will last all day to coincide with the Columbine school shooting. In Spokane, Rob Harris, back to you.
And we also spoke with Spokane City leaders about the walkouts today. City Council President Ben Stucker says he supports the right of people to speak out and protest.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says it also supports the rights of students to protest, and they note schools shouldn't be a place where students feel unsafe. Well, it's not just high schoolers who took part in the walkouts today.
Some local middle schoolers are speaking up as well. They may be young, but as KREM 2's Alexa Block found out, they feel like they can still make a difference.
They may be 7th and 8th graders, but the students I spoke with from Sacagawea Middle School had a lot to say. They told me despite their age, they are aware of what's happening in this country, and they feel like taking a stand against gun violence in schools is how they will make a change.
We are the future.
One by one, the future trickled out of Sacagawea Middle School, looking to take a stand right now. More than 100 students, parents, and supporters gathered outside the school building.
People tell us that we're too young to understand, but when I see everyone walk out of school and in the cold and come and listen to us, I know that we care and we're going to be able to do something.
These young people say they do understand. They understand they want to put an end to school gun violence.
It's terrible and it's terrifying for us as students.
We're not going to be silent while things are happening to students in schools where we're supposed to be able to say that we're safe. If we can't be safe at school, where can we be?
And parents and others in the community came to support their cause.
The children are scared, and they understand that sometimes it takes collective action to garner attention.
And that action was also being taken inside school. Sacagawea school leaders held an assembly for students and faculty. A parent gave us this video of a student's speech at the assembly. This is 8th grader Emma Brown.
I know that it's scary to have to think about. I know that it's scary to remember. I know that it may be upsetting, but it is upsetting. We can't pretend anymore.
Whether they were inside or outside the school at 10 a.m., they shared the moment with thousands of students across the country.
We're all resonating with each other. It feels so powerful.
They're all wanting the same thing, action.
If we don't do something about it now, nothing's going to happen and it's only going to get worse.
Now, students from middle schools all the way up to colleges demonstrated in walkouts here in the Inland Northwest. Whitworth University, Eastern Washington, Washington State, as well as Spokane Falls Community College all had walkouts today. In the studio, Alexa Block, KREM 2 News.